What's the most satisfying way a locker thief finally got caught? This happened back in the early 2000s, around 2003 or 2004. Our high school had what you could honestly call a crime wave. Students kept having things stolen straight out of their locked lockers. It wasn't everyone, but enough that just about everybody knew at least one person it had happened to. The school's answer was to blame us. They said it was our fault for sharing locker combinations with friends, and every time someone asked to have their lock changed, the school charged $150 because they claimed it was the student's fault. I never gave my combination to anyone, but one day my graphing calculator disappeared. Back then, a TI-86 cost around $150, and the school still charged me another $150 to change my lock. In 2003 money, that was a serious hit. My dad happened to be friends with a county detective. Let's call him Uncle Buddy. When he heard about my stolen calculator, he went to the school to ask for the security footage. The principal brushed him off, insisting thefts weren't a problem and that I must have given out my locker code. When Buddy pressed, the principal told him he'd need a warrant, so he got one. Then the school fought the warrant in court, saying it would violate student privacy. That's when Buddy decided to set a trap. He showed up at my house with a laptop bag and said, "Put this in your locker and make sure everyone knows you just got a brand new laptop." I did as he asked. 3 days later, the laptop and even a bottle of Coke I'd left inside vanished. I texted Buddy that it was gone. He replied, "Good. Report it stolen. Stand by." The next morning, Buddy arrived at school with 3 uniformed officers. They pulled a student, let's call him Dave, out of class, along with his mom, who worked in the front office. The principal was furious, accusing Buddy of embarrassing the school. But Buddy had everything lined up. That laptop had a GPS tracker hidden inside. He'd already gotten a warrant to search the house it pinged from. And since the laptop was valued at over $1,000, the theft wasn't just petty, it was a felony. The next day, Buddy set up a tent and a table right outside school grounds with a banner, "Had something stolen from your locker? See me." That's when the story broke wide open. Turns out Dave had been using his mom's login credentials to access student locker combinations through the school's system. Then he'd go locker to locker, stealing anything valuable. If he didn't have specific info, he'd just try random ones. Once Buddy started collecting reports, the numbers were staggering. The investigation proved 44 separate thefts. 9 were felonies because the stolen items were valued over $1,000, things like jewelry and electronics. The other 35 were misdemeanors. The total value of stolen property they could prove was around $15,000, and that didn't even count the dozens of other cases they suspected but couldn't fully verify. The fallout was massive. First came a class action lawsuit. Every student who'd been forced to pay $150 for a lock change joined in, since the school had ignored the thefts while profiting off of them. There were 218 of us in the class. After attorney fees, each of us got $85 back. The school, however, lost over $21,000 plus legal costs. The principal also lost his job for refusing to deal with the theft problem in the first place. Then came the criminal trial. Prosecutors offered Dave 10 years, 5 in juvie, 5 in adult prison, and his mom 15 years. They refused the deal. At trial, the jury saw video of Dave opening more than 20 lockers, and the police had stolen goods recovered from his house to match every charge. Dave was convicted on all counts, 9 felonies and 35 misdemeanors. His sentence was 9 years in prison plus 35 months of probation. His mom was sentenced to 18 years in prison and another 6 on probation. The judge made it clear he wasn't impressed by how long the thefts had gone unchecked or by the mother's role in enabling them. The county treated it like the biggest crime spree in years because it honestly was. And as much as the whole thing caused chaos, I got some satisfaction in the end. I got my graphing calculator back. My name was engraved inside the battery compartment, so there was no mistaking it. I still have it to this day, along with the memory of how one stolen calculator brought down a thief, his mother, and a careless principal.